a lesbian woman that tried to sell a story about me to TMZ. Thank goodness TMZ could see right through the sham of that story. This woman claimed that I beat her up in a nightclub because she was a lesbian. That is fucking crazy. Bitch, I didn't even know you was a woman. Thank God TMZ didn't believe that. Because I did beat the shit out of her, I'm not gonna lie. It was her fault, I had no choice. I came in the club minding my own business and a woman came up to me, she goes, oh my God, Dave Chappelle. And I was just being reciprocally nice. Hey, miss, how are you, blah, blah, blah. But not talk, nothing to it. And all of a sudden, this lesbian fellow stepped between us. Hey, nigga, that's my girl. I said, yo, my man, back up, like that. She said, I ain't backing up off shit, nigga, that's my girl. I said, bro, you're gonna have to give me 3 feet like this. She said, stop calling me a man, motherfucker. I'm a woman. I said, what? And then I looked deep in this nigga's cheekbones. I said, oh my God, you are a woman. It was just too much for me to even wrap my mind around. But I tell you what, I unballed my fist immediately and I softened my posture so that she would know she's in no danger. I even changed the tone of my voice. I said softly, sweetly, like a pimp might say. Bitch, I'm about to slap the shit out of you. I shouldn't have done it. Oh, I wish I didn't say that. She dropped that foot back, boop. She was in a perfect southpaw stance. Her shoulders were angled correctly. Her head movement was good. I said, oh no, this bitch boxes for real. She threw a wild hook at me and I saw it coming from yesterday, so I slipped it like this. I had no choice. I had to go to work. I let that jab go. You should have seen me go, nigga. I tenderized them titties like chicken cutlets. I whooped the toxic masculinity out of that bitch. That's why I don't go out no more. Just trying to chill. I'm just trying to live a peaceful life. That's why I live in Ohio. You know, I live in a little town in Ohio. It must be like 3,700 people, small hippie town. Culturally, it might feel like Ann Arbor to you. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of hippies and shit like that. And niggas always ask me, like, Dave, why you live in that hippie town? And I'd be embarrassed to tell them the truth. But you know why I live there? Because Yellow Springs, Ohio, has the most beautiful women in the world. And a lot of people might disagree with me, but you gotta see them for yourself. They're gorgeous. But it all depends on what you're into, you know what I mean? I like white bitches with dirty feet. If I had a strip club in Yellow Springs, I would call that shit strippies. All naked hippies all the time. And I'd only hire girls with long titties and long vagina hair that looks like they slept on it. And I would keep a pile of dirt right next to the stage. I come like, bitch, get your feet in that dirt and get up there and give those people what they came to see. Chalk up, bitch. A couple years ago, I was in Ohio at a shopping mall. An old white lady, this is true, she was following me around the mall, which sounds paranoid, but I'm sure she was following me. Mean lady, too. You ever see a woman with lines on her face that just tell you, like, even if she smiled, it looked like it would hurt the muscles in her face? I knew she was following me because she was at places that had nothing to do with her. I'd be looking around like, what is this old bitch doing in GameStop and Foot Locker and all the places I like to go? Every time I see her, she'd just be looking at me all mean. And eventually I forgot about her. So then after I'm shopping, I go all the way to the back of the parking lot. I'm parked all the way in the back. And as soon as I open my car door, I hear a voice go, Dave Chappelle. Just like that. I didn't even have to look. I knew it was her. And I looked back, and sure enough, there she was, that face. To be honest with you, she probably wasn't even that old. She's probably around my age. But she was a white woman. This bitch looked terrible. Going all the way. I kept my cool. I was nice. I said, hello, miss. And she didn't say anything back. All she said was, I watch your comedy. I said, uh-oh. And then she says, it's true. She goes, it sounds to me like you hate women. I said, well, you know what, miss? It's art. And you're free to interpret this art however you'd like. But I can tell you, as the maker of this art, that I don't believe that I feel that way. And she said, well, I think, and I said, shut up, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Before I kill you and put you in the trunk. Ain't nobody around here. I'm just kidding, I didn't say that. I felt that way, but that's not what I said. I was more clever than that. You know what I said? And this is exactly what I said. I said, miss, before you finish that statement, let me ask you a question. Where'd you see me? Did you buy a ticket to a concert I did? I doubt that. Or maybe you watched one of my specials on Netflix. Or did I follow you to your car and do my act? She said, what? I said, keep it in the comment section, bitch, this is real life. Ta-ta! And then I drove off. Now I gotta tell you, and this is gonna surprise some people here, but not everybody. People say things to me all the time, but what you don't know is it does affect me. I think about it. And that one bothered me a lot. I was driving home, couldn't stop thinking about what this woman said because she's not the first woman that said that to me. It's puzzling. You know what I mean? Like, what could I possibly be saying that would make these bitches think I hate women? Couldn't figure it out. So you know what I did? I Googled the dictionary definition of a feminist just to make sure I was talking about the right thing. And do you know, sir, what the dictionary definition of a feminist is? I didn't either. Listen to this. Webster's defines a feminist as a human being, not a woman, a human being that believes in equal rights for women. I was shocked that that's what that meant. Because by that definition, I would consider myself a feminist. And I didn't even know that at the time. All these years, I thought it meant frumpy dyke. Well, that's who's always talking, to be some chick in overalls. Men are trying to rape us. Ah, not you, bitch, we please. Oh, buddy, I'm in trouble now. Before I go, I want to share this story with you because it's important to this point. I want your community to know that one of the coolest people I ever met was a transgender woman. And this is not a man that I knew that became a woman. This woman was trans when I met her. Lived in San Francisco. Daphne Dorman is her name. I would do 18 shows in the Bay Area, sometimes in Oakland and Dirty Hood nightclub, and she would be there, a white trans woman, laughing loud and hard at everything I said, especially the trans jokes. It's very puzzling, because she was obviously trans. And one night after one of the shows, I met her. And what it was, turns out, it was her dream to be a comedian. And I was her hero. It's very moving. I could not dislike somebody that felt that way about me. We became fast friends. And when I made that special Sticks and Stones, right as it was coming out, I happened to be in San Francisco and I wanted to do a show, but I needed an opening act. And I remembered that trans woman I had met. So I called her on the phone. And I called her myself. I said, "Hey, Daphne, this is Dave Chappelle." She couldn't believe it. And I go, "I'm in San Francisco." And then she started saying a bunch of wild stuff. I was like, "Relax now. I don't want any pussy." I was, I was calling because I'm doing a show and I need an opening act. And I was wondering if you'd open the show. And she was like, "Fuck yeah." Now, I didn't know this at the time, but this woman had only done stand-up comedy 8 times in her life. This is little to no experience. And now she's about to open a show for what many call the GOAT. She's an amateur in stature, but in practice, she was very professional. She showed up early, which is something I appreciate, because I like people to be on time. She was dressed to the motherfucking nines. I mean, I'm transphobic, and even I was like, "You look nice." Went up on the stage with all the swag of a professional comedian, grabbed that mic and walked right down the middle and looked at the crowd like a gangster. Man, you should have seen her work. This bitch bombed for 45 minutes straight. And I am not exaggerating, young man. That show was terrible. Stunk. Stunk. And then she brings me on, and you know, I was like a glass of water after a handful of salt. The crowd was happy to see me. I was killing it. But here's what impressed me. Any other comedian I've ever seen, if they had bombed as bad as she did, would have snuck out of the back of the theater and went home and cried or something. And she didn't do that. Not only did she not leave, she found a seat right up in front. You know, when a new comedian watches an experienced comedian in comedy, we call this taking class. And this bitch took my whole class. She sat up there and was laughing as hard as she always laughs, as if nothing bad had even happened to her. And I saw her show. Something bad happened to her. She was drunk. So she starts talking to me while I'm on stage, but the way a person would talk to a television when they were alone. She's talking to me like that. That didn't bother me because I knew her, but the crowd didn't like that shit at all because she sucked. And a guy in the back of the room stood up, and Daphne's hair was dyed blonde at the time, and the guy screamed out, and his energy felt wild as fuck. He said, "Hey, Daphne!" And everybody kind of clamped, like got tense. We didn't know if it was a heckler or active shooter. And he said, "Does the carpet match the drapes?" Yeah, it was fucked up. The whole crowd kind of groaned because it was so, like, mean. Everybody groaned, except for Daphne. She kind of laughed, which was weird. And then she didn't even look all the way back. She said, "Sir, I don't have carpets. I have hardwood floors." Just like that. Just like that. And boy, when she said that shit, it blew the roof off the place. Cut through all the tension. With that one joke, she made up for 45 minutes of a stinker of a show. And after that, she could do no wrong. And I kept on rocking. She kept on talking to me. And then the show became something cooler than a show. Just became like a conversation between a black man and a white trans woman, and we started getting to the bottom of shit. All them questions that you think about that you'd be afraid to ask, I was just asking them, and she was answering them, and her answers were funny as shit. The crowd was falling out of their chairs. And at the end of the show, I go, oh, Daphne, I said, well, that was fun. I go, I love you to death, but I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. The whole crowd laughed, except for Daphne. Now she looks at me like I'm not her friend anymore. Like I'm something bigger than me, like I'm the whole world and a guy. And she said, I don't need you to understand me. I said, what? She said, I just need you to believe, just like this, she goes, that I'm having a human experience. And when she said it, the whole crowd kind of gasped. And I gave her the Fight Club look. I said, I believe you, bitch. Because she didn't say anything about pronouns. She didn't say anything about me being in trouble. She said, just believe I'm a person and I'm going through it. And oh, I believe you because it takes one to know one. Then I told the crowd good night, and they start going crazy. And before the applause gets to its crescendo, I say, and don't forget my opening act, Daphne. And the crowd stood up. And I looked at her, and tears came out of her eyes. She couldn't believe it was happening. I couldn't believe it was happening because her show stunk. And it was a great night. I remember the late, great Paul Mooney was there, a bunch of fly-ass comedy niggas was there. And we all went backstage and was just drinking and talking shit and laughing, and Daphne stole the room. She had everyone cracking up, spinning the yarn, telling us all these crazy stories about shit she be into. We all laughing real hard, and as she's telling us and everyone's laughing, I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, she is funny. I pulled her aside and I said, you're hilarious. I didn't know that when you were on stage. I said, you're doing some things wrong, but I can help you. I said, anytime I'm in San Francisco, why don't you open the show for me and I'll just try to give you some pointers, see if you can't work this thing out. And she said, are you serious? I was like, yeah. And she grabbed me real tight, hugged me, squeezed me. And I pushed her all violently because I'm transphobic. I said, boundaries, bitch. When Sticks and Stones came out, a lot of people in the trans community were furious with me, and apparently they dragged me on Twitter. I don't give a fuck, because Twitter's not a real place. And the hardest thing for a person to do is go against their tribe if they disagree with their tribe, but Daphne did that for me. She wrote a tweet that was very beautiful, and what she said was, it was almost exactly what she said. She said, punching down on someone requires you to think less of them. And I know him, and he doesn't. He doesn't punch up, he doesn't punch down, he punches lines, and he's a master at his craft. That's what she said. Beautiful tweet. Beautiful friend. It took a lot of heart to defend me like that. And when she did that, the trans community dragged that bitch all over Twitter. For days, they was going in on her, and she was holding her own because she's funny. But 6 days after that wonderful night I described to you, my friend Daphne killed herself. Oh, yeah. It's a true story. My heart was broken. Yeah, it wasn't the jokes. I don't know if it was them dragging her, I don't know what's going on in her life, but I bet dragging her didn't help. I was very angry at them. I was very angry at her. I felt like Daphne lied to me. She always says she identified as a woman, and then one day she goes up to the roof of a building and jumps off and kills herself. Clearly, only a man would do some gangster shit like that. Hear me out. As hard as it is to hear a joke like that, I'm telling you right now, Daphne would have loved that joke. That's why she was my friend.
having this discussion not so very long ago with Jerry Seinfeld. He said that when he's in a situation where he senses that things are not going his way is when all he does is rely on the material. He doesn't worry about anything else. He just goes right on with his material, and sooner or later he will prevail. Do you have that experience?
Not at all. No.
Do you still get nervous when you do shows, or this is a piece of cake to you?
Well, one time it didn't work out.
Yeah, and sometimes it don't work. You know what it's like? And Donnell, you can attest to this. When people ask me, like, do you get nervous when you go on stage? It's like asking a pilot if he gets nervous before a flight. I might hit some weather. Some turbulence. Yeah, I might hit some weather, but I feel like normally we land the plane. I don't think we've ever not landed. Maybe Detroit, but other than that was the time. I mean, you know, being a celebrity, your realm of getting in trouble is worse than the average person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, the average dude got to go out and look for trouble. I'd be sitting around mind my own business, and dude come up, hey man, you're Dave Chappelle. I'm like, yeah, what's up, man? Hey, I got 12 naked bitches in a hot air balloon. You trying to roll with me?
Game has gone off the rails.
It's insane
Don't
having
lose
you
control
here.
of your show.
I'm not losing control. I hope not. It's too late. It's too late now.
Yeah, don't lose your show.
Yeah, here we go.
I feel very lucky that I got to know him. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's a very large part of the reason that I got to be successful. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, he changed my life just by saying, I fought Rick James many times. We were like, what?
He fucked Rick James.
Fought Rick James.
Oh, I thought you said
Jesus Christ, Charlemagne, Jesus Christ.
I don't know what accent that was.
Whoa. I don't normally do this, but it was Jessica Simpson. I said, let me just see, you know, what's going on. So I went up, I'm like, hi, Jessica Simpson. I didn't know what to say. I'm like, my name's Dave Chappelle. I was like, I'm on TV too.
Yeah.
And she was like, I know who you are. And I was like, I knew it, bitch. I didn't say that to her.
So did you go to a psychiatric hospital?
In South Africa?
Yeah.
Who?
I'm only asking because I need to ask.
I gotta get people thinking, all right, who goes from America to Africa for medical attention?
The reason most people have a show and then don't have a show is because they say, well, we don't want you to have a show anymore. But that wasn't the case here. The case here was I guess you said, I don't want your show anymore, and you took a hike.
It's worse than that.
It's worse?
Yeah.
Well, now, are you tired of talking about it? It's 10 years, of course you're tired of talking about it.
I don't talk about it. It's like, you know, listen, here it is. Technically, I never quit. I'm 7 years late for work. My son was back there, and I have another son that's coming this weekend.
Oh yeah?
Yes, we're gonna have a swell time.
Do they enjoy living? Do they enjoy living in Ohio?
Yeah, they don't know any different. Like, they love it. You know.
He didn't mean it like that. He didn't mean it like that.
I sat back down. As a matter of fact, I was finishing my soup up, and she was leaving. This was crazy. She came up to me as she was leaving. She was like, bye, Dave Chappelle. It's nice to meet you. And she gave me some sugar, just a little.
She gave you a kiss?
Yeah, which was crazy, because I opened my mouth a little bit. I was in Portland, Maine. Mm-hmm. Oh, do you remember that? And,
yeah.
And I was walking in a mall, and I guess you guys had been there an hour before me, so they just thought I was like a lost route. They were like, I look at it like this. I'm at a restaurant with my wife. It's a nice restaurant. We're eating dinner. I look across the room. I say, you see this guy over here across the room? He has $100 million. And we're eating the same entree. So, okay, fine. I don't have $50 million or whatever it was. But say I have $10 million in the bank. The difference in lifestyle is minuscule. The only difference between having $10 million and $50 million is an astounding $40 million.
How old were you when you started?
I was 14.
Your mom let you go gig at 14?
She used to have to take me in the beginning. I can't really say it on television. She would critique my act on the drive home, which was a very long ride. You don't want to hear your mom say, like, those jokes need to be cut and all that stuff.
I saw your baby, very nice. Baby's, how old's the baby now?
He's 18 months now.
Oh, that's very cool.
He can't quite talk yet, but that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
For him to talk.
Yeah.
Because whenever you ever had a conversation with a guy that lived in your balls, you know?
Thank you. Good night, everybody. See you next week. Thank you.
The vagina is stronger than money.
Stronger than money.
Yes. If I could, I'd put one in my wallet. I would get a whole new wardrobe. And then I go to pay for it and say, this is going to be cash or charge. And I say, I'll pay with my vagina. You just take that in the bank and process it.
So what happens? You get out of the police station.
Well, I go there, you know, I believe the fear is that, you know, the police, you don't want to go in there because, oh, while you're here, you might fit a description. Why don't you come back here and we'll process it? I don't want to get put in the lineup, you know. You know the lineup.
I know the lineup, yeah.
And especially if it's one of them good lineups where all the guys kind of look like you. I don't know. He'd be in the line like, oh, my God, they do kind of look like me. Yeah.
Were you actually in the lineup?
Oh, yeah, I've been in the lineup before. I would try to change my face and stuff like, you know. And a lady actually almost picked me. She was like, wait a minute, this guy, he looks familiar. It's like, bitch, I've been on television. Be careful, man. It's like, you know, I learned about London. I didn't know they called cigarettes fags over there.
Yeah, you gotta kind of know that before you go.
Yeah, I was in a bar and the guy came up to me. I'm dying for a fag. Like, ugh, man. Why are you telling me this? Like, am I in the wrong bar?
How old is your baby?
Nah, yeah.
How old is your baby?
She's 2.
Oh, okay. She's too old for my baby to fight.
To fight?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I like baby fights. I like to put them. I like to have them in there with other babies and just mix it up.
She's the wrong weight class.
The whole Black History Month, I was down south. I know it was crazy. I was scared to go, you know. And I got there and it was not scary at all. It was nice there.
Right.
And I mean, not to say they don't have racism, but they're comfortable with their racism.
Right.
You know, morning, nigger. Morning, sir. Boy, that was good.
How old were you when you made your first TV development deal?
19. My mother and my grandmother were freaked out. You know, I was the first person in my family not to go to college that had not been a slave.
Right.
So I was really breaking from tradition, and it was like a graduation lunch we were having, and they had my dad come and talk to me, and my dad takes me outside, and he's like, listen, and this is some advice that applies to all you acting students. He says, to be an actor is a lonely life. Everybody wants to make it, and you might not make it. And I said to my dad, well, that depends on what making it is, Dad. He was a smart-ass kid.
Yeah.
It depends on what making it is, Dad. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, you're a teacher. I said, if I could make a teacher salary doing comedy, I think that's better than being a teacher. And he started laughing. He said, if you keep that attitude, I think you should go. He said, but name your price in the beginning. If it ever gets more expensive than the price you name, get out of there. Thus, Africa.
There's so much poetry if you got to know him, and just the way he speaks. I remember one time, The Roots was having a jam session in LA. Hello, Amir. And backstage, I saw Jay-Z, and a photographer came up and said, guys, can we get a picture? It was him and his wife, Beyonce. And we all right, guys, relax, would you? And we all grouped together for a picture, me, Jay, and Beyonce. And I stood between them, and I put my arms around him, and Jay grabbed me and moved me to the side and grabbed his wife by the hand and said, the rose between the thorns. And as they're taking a picture, Jay says to me, you must have a lot of pressure on you to say funny shit all the time. And I looked at Jay and I said, well, you must have a lot of pressure on you to say cool shit all the time. And Jay looked at me and said, it ain't no pressure, I just do it. That's right. And I looked at Jay and said, my God, man, you just did it again. Hov, I'm your friend and your fan. I'm honored that I got a chance to know you. You embody black excellence, how great we can be. And I am honored to be the nigga that gets to say to my nigga, welcome to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
My life. It's too much there to stress you out. This whole world is just drug infested, hate infested, drug infested world. Hate drugs. I heard the worst drug story. You know what my friend told me? You know what he's dealing with? His landlord is hooked on crack. That's terrible. That's pressure. Your landlord's hooked on crack, that means you've gotta have the rent. You come around all the time. I got the rent. It's not even due yet, it's the 10th. Come on, I need it! Let me just get $20 of it now and then just give me the rest of the month. Every couple hours, hey look, I'm gonna need some more of the rent. This building's falling apart, things came up. Comes home early from a party. Landlord's in the crib going through his What are you doing in my house? Ah! Where's the sink? I came to fix it. It's in the kitchen. I thought it was in the drawer. I'll fix it tomorrow when I come for the rent. You know what I hate about drugs? I hate when like people my age and older get hooked on crack. I hate that. You're too old to be experimenting with the drugs at a certain point. You should be past that. You ain't doing it by a certain point, you just miss it. Drugs are really for old people anyway. You 75, you've earned the right. If I was 75, I'd do coke, heroin, everything. I wouldn't give a I'd be walking down the street, they'd be like, boy, that old man is tripping. Can't do everything. Maybe weed. If you're gonna do something, do a little weed. Smoke weed. Weed's not as bad as everything else. Weed is a background substance. You know what I mean? You can smoke some herb and still function. And you ain't crisp, but you'll function. Nothing higher than weed, though. I made that mistake one time. I was at a party, some guy gave me some. He's like, here, man, take this. Mushrooms. I took it, I forgot all about it, you know. Then a couple days later, I found that in my pocket. I'm thinking, why not? Because I'm thinking it's like weed, some background. I planned my whole day out like it was weed. I'll chew this up, then I'll go to the barber shop, get my hair cut, and then I'll see a movie. I chewed it up. So far, so good. Then I was in a barber shop like an hour later. And it's funny because I was just thinking to myself, I was like, ooh, this stuff sucks. Tastes like athlete's foot. I feel sick, but I'm not really high. Then I looked in the mirror. I saw the barber's reflection, man. It looked like a big penis was cutting my hair. I freaked out. I started talking to myself, Dave, calm down. You're on drugs. This is what drugs do. Okay, you know that there was no way that a penis can cut hair. But I started freaking out, man. I just couldn't take it anymore. I jumped out the chair, half my hair was cut, I didn't care. I didn't, I just gave a barber a handful of money. It was weird, the balls opened up. Anyway, I ran home, man. I ran home as fast as I could. It's tripping. I looked at the clock, it was 2:42. I was like, damn, 2:42? I gotta sober up. I had never been this high this early. I took a shower, I was still high. Said maybe music will do the trick. I listened to every CD I had, I was still high. Exercise, that's what I'll do. I ran around the block 4 times, still high. Took a nap, woke up, up. I looked at the clock, it was 2:43. I said, God damn. Who wrote this song? You know, this is our grandmother used to sing that when she cleaning up. That's a Negro spiritual. Black work song. Not everybody know about that. I know. See, white people, you guys might whistle when you work. You dig? But that's how you can tell what kind of work we're actually doing. I study that kind of I do. Anything that has to do with race. I read a little here, see a little there. And I travel. That's always good. Traveling has made me a racism connoisseur, if you will. You know, it's different from region to region. Anyone ever been down south? So you guys know what I'm talking about. And the racism down there is just, it's perfect. It's due to a perfection. It's comfortable, it's out in the open. There are no secrets in Mississippi. Everybody knows the deal. Morning, nigger. Morning, sir. Not up here. You hit the big cities, man, it's different. It's always a secret. And we should do like them. We should keep our shit out in the open, then a little. I mean, with limits. You don't want to say whatever comes to your mind. That might be a little much. White dude be walking down the street minding his business, and the brother walk up to him, hello, you white oppressor, you slave master rapist of Africa. Why, hello, my big lip spear chucking friend. Touche, hunky. So, Whitey, what did you do today, huh? Oppress a new land and make the people there Christians against their will? What did you do, fellow? Burn those big black lips on a crack pipe as you missed your job interview? Easy, Whitey, you're cutting deep. All this chit-chat has got me thirsty. If you will excuse me for a moment, I'm gonna go to the Korean store and get something to drink. Chilling. Hello. You slanted-eyed, ruining the economy in our neighborhood by opening stores and taking the money out the community. Chink. Wow. Good afternoon, you browse around but never buy anything. Suspicious looking nigga. After a while, that might be too much. But you can't help it. If you're an American, you're a racist. We brought up from the beginning to think in generalizations. We never look at the individual. We rarely look at the individual. I'm a racist. I know I'm a racist. You know how I know? The other day I caught myself being racist against myself. There's so much going on, I got mixed up. Forgot whose team I was on. One time I was reading the paper, man, this story came on about this guy was suing a department store because they wouldn't let him play Santa Claus, you know, because he's black. And I was actually like relieved when the department store beat him. That's bad. But I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for the idea of a black Santa Claus, man. That would suck. So we wouldn't get our presents till the 28th, 29th.
Sorry I'm late, kids. Santa got caught up with some in Vegas. I had to sell some toys to get back, shit. Where them cookies at?
Y'all a great crowd, man. You are. I'm glad y'all came out, man. I'm nervous. I am. Not about the special. I hope this don't make me famous. You dig? I don't want to be famous. I want people to like me for who I am. Like famous dude, don't never know why people like them. That's why, like, if I ever make it, I'm gonna have to like test people. Like if I meet girls, I wear disguises when they first meet me, so they don't know who I am. And then like on the first date, I'll call myself, I'll pick you up right from work. And then I'll pick her up in a garbage truck. Just to see how she reacts. And she's like, wait a minute. Oh, do I look like garbage to you? I don't see no goddamn trash need to be picked up here. Get that goddamn truck off my block. Who do you think you are? That's when I take my mask off. Oh, David Chappelle. That's right, bitch. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dave Chappelle.
Thank you. Oh, boy, I'm very nervous. No pressure. During the Civil Rights Movement, I can't read what's on the teleprompter. Some about black America and white America. There's black Americans and there's white Americans. We're all one America. So if you don't mind, this is not live, is it? I imagine whatever I say, you could just edit it out. Let's try it a few ways. Lou, are you in the booth?
I am.
All right, good. You know what, Lou? Let's just play around with it and see if we can get it right, get this clip package on, and then let me go home, all right?
You got it.
All right.
Ready?
All right, count me in.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wu-Tang. I'm just with you, Lou. Let's do it again. We're gonna do it again. We'll get it right.
Here we go, Dave. 5, 4, 3, 2.
You know, when I was a comedian starting out in Washington, D.C., right here in this city, 1988, I'll never forget this. It was a comedy club owner that banned profanity from his comedy club. He said it offended his audience, and this was a cause of major concern for all the comedians in the circuit. And we all called a meeting, and we had the owners come, and it was the club owners, and it was the comedians. It was the classic labor dispute. The club owners laid out their case. There cannot be profanity in these clubs because that offends people. And there's a comedian who's still a good friend of mine to this day. He lives right here in Washington, D.C. He stood up and he said, he's black, I should tell you, because it's important to the story. He says, I use profanity because I live a profane lifestyle. He says, I don't have an insect infestation in my house. I have roaches. Man, I gotta tell you, when I was sitting here watching what all the other honorees have done with their lives, I started feeling like shit. Like, this is terrible. And then Bobo brought me up and started out good with that Ali picture, and then it just... Whew. But that coloring book that was in the picture, I know the Ali's are here, that coloring book, my mother has it. And Champ, he signed it. You know, the greatest, he signed Muhammad Ali. And his sparring partner was there that day. And his sparring partner signed it, said the next heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes. And he was. And 2-year-old Dave Chappelle colored all in that shit and just ruined the book. But I remember part of the book that I remember real vividly, because I asked my mother about it when I was a kid. There's a part where there's a picture of Ali throwing his Olympic gold medal into the Ohio River. That's why it's so weird for me being here. You know, both my parents were very brilliant. My dad went to Brown in 1955. That's right. He told me at the time he was one of 3 black students. He said one of the guys got accused of a rape that he probably didn't commit. And the other guy killed himself, and Dad said, and I left. And see, that's what makes us Chappelle's great. We know when to quit. We all just live to fight another day. I gotta say, I'm very honored to be here, and I'm very honored to be here with the other honorees. Really, I'm like very humbled by you all, the work that you do, and you all make me want to be better. All of you. And you know, I was gonna stop doing stand-up for a while because 4 comedy specials in a year is like, that's a lot, you know. But you know, shout out to my colleagues in comedy. I just want to say that in a way, this for me belongs to my mother primarily, who was an African American studies professor, and a lot of the content that I say, she raised me well. I'm not an uninformed person. But also, you know, my colleagues in comedy, like comedians have been getting beat up pretty bad recently, and we're somehow nowadays expected to speak with the precision of attorneys or politicians. We are not. I always think of James Baldwin. You know, James Baldwin was one of my favorite writers because he managed to tell white people what they feel like to be around. So I ain't gonna hang up my gloves yet. I think I got one more special in me. So to quote Baldwin, God gave Noah the rainbow sign. There's no more water, it's the fire next time. Thank you very much. Boy, this comes as a complete surprise. I mean, I read all the reviews, and they said so many terrible things. They were embarrassed for me. I had lost my way. It wasn't even worth watching. I hope all you critics learn from this. This is a teachable moment. Shut the fuck up forever. Two in a night. These aren't them. These are the ones I want for the other ones, motherfucker. I would like to thank my editor who was nominated. Unfortunately, he did not win, but I couldn't have been more honored to work with Jeff Urin. Stan Lathan has been directing television since 1968. Any show that I watched when I was growing up, he directed it. From Sesame Street to Sanford and Son to Good Times to Everything Black. And finally, you motherfuckers finally gave him an Emmy tonight. He deserves so much more, but I'm glad you came around. shout out all the other nominees tonight. Tiffany Haddish and Patton Oswalt and Hannah Gatsby and Brother Mulaney. You guys are an inspiration to me, and I'm honored to be nominated with you. I'm sorry that you didn't win tonight, but who gives a fuck anyway? It's a special night because comedy gets to be itself. It's all we've ever wanted. I hope the war is over. We good? And as always, I love to thank my wife, Elaine. That's right. Elaine has been with me for the last 25 years and had to endure the pains of living with the greatest comedian ever. See you on Monday. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like not knowing what's going to happen. I like making memories. Sometimes I do all this crazy shit around my colleagues just so that they can tell their friends I did it. But rather than talk about myself, just briefly, I want to just talk about my genre. Stand-up comedy is an incredibly American genre. I don't think any other country could produce this many comedians. And unbeknownst to many people in this audience, I don't think there's opinion that it exists in this country that is not represented in a comedy club by somebody. Each and every one of you has a champion in the room. We watch you guys fight, but when we're together, we talk it out. I know comics that are very racist, and I watch them on stage, and everyone's laughing, and I'm like, that motherfucker means that shit. Don't get mad at them, don't hate them. We go upstairs and have a beer, and sometimes I even appreciate the artistry that they paint their racist opinions with. Man, it's not that serious. The First Amendment is first for a reason. The Second Amendment is just in case the first one doesn't work out. We gotta let some air out of the ball, man. The country's getting a little tight. It doesn't feel like it's ever felt in my lifetime. So tonight, I am honored that my colleagues are here in comedy and in music. And I want everyone in America right now to look at me. Look at me smoking indoors. I didn't ask anybody, I just did it. What are they gonna do? Kick me out before I get the prize? No, nigga, this is called leverage. The thing that I liked best about tonight was that I saw so many people from different parts of my life, like friends that I grew up with here in DC, friends of mine from Ohio then and now, friends of mine from comedy clubs, all the fucking musicians that blew my mind. You guys have no idea how you inspired me. I want to give a special shout out to my OG, Tony Woods. Miles Davis has a quote. It's one of my favorite. Miles Davis said so much cool shit, but one of the things he said I always loved, he said, it took me years to learn how to play like myself. You know, he would watch other musicians and he would try to play like Dizzy or Bird or all the guys who were great. Tony Woods was my Dizzy and Bird if I was a Miles. I was trying to play like you. You were the first person I ever saw do it absolutely right. You were fearless and you told the truth. There's something so true about this genre, when done correctly, that I will fight anybody that gets a true practitioner of this art form's way, because I know you're wrong. This is the truth, and you are obstructing it. I'm not talking about the content, I'm talking about the art form. Do you understand? Do we have an agreement? And what I really wanted to say tonight, and I'm glad I get the platform to do it, I'm gay. I am gay, and I can't wait to see what this does for my career, being gay like this. So many special shout outs. One of the main architects of the comeback of the century, my brother and my mentor, the mighty Stan Lathan. I never dreamed that I would be able to work with someone as great as you. These last 5 specials, straight fire. I wouldn't want to do another special with anybody else but you. So eat your motherfucking vegetables and live as long as you can, because we doing a few more of these bitches. Neil Brennan, your speech made me cry because it reminded me of all those hard days of work and all that money I never got for it. The other real special shout out I gotta make, because none of this would have been possible on any level without this person, is my mother. Mom. My mother. Mom. You have no idea what I put this woman through. If you had just given birth to me, that would have been more than enough. But the fact that she raised me and raised me well, we had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who was charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories, and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt down. And my mother used to tell me, before I ever thought about doing comedy, she said, you should be a griot. And she'd fill me with every story of black life. You know, she's educated in African American studies, and she would let me understand the context that I was being raised in, that I'm being raised in a hostile environment that I have to tame. By the time I was 14 years old, I was in nightclubs, mastering an adult world. It was terrifying. The crack epidemic was going on, and my mother would hear gunshots outside and be scared to death. Maybe it's my son. But early in my career, if you remember, Mom, you used to sit in the club with me. She'd do a full day of work. You'd be back there falling asleep, just waiting for me to go on. She would watch my show every night. Do you know how long that car ride is home? How many of you have ever heard your mother say, pussy jokes were a little too much tonight, son? I was a soft kid. I was sensitive, I'd cry easy, and I would be scared to fist fight. And my mother used to tell me this thing, I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are. I talk this shit like a lion. I'm not afraid of any of you. When it comes word to word, I will gab with the best of them, just so I can chill and be me. And that's why I love my art form, because I understand every practitioner of it. Whether I agree with them or not, I know where they're coming from. They want to be heard. They got something to say. There's something they notice. They just want to be understood. Love this genre. It saved my life. So tonight, Mom, I would like to honor you in a very special way that I cannot do on my own. But because now I'm a man with great and influential friends, I'd like to ask my man Thundercat to come out on the stage. Thundercat, the Mighty Most Def. Washington, D.C., thank you very much for giving me a home and a place to start. Today is officially Dave Chappelle Day in Washington, D.C. The mayor declared it last night. So, in the future, on Dave Chappelle Day, I ask everyone who wishes to celebrate it to make one incredible memory for themselves and or somebody else. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you. You know, I speak for a living, and I'm a little nervous today. I wanted to say thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Bishop Green, and thank everyone at Allen University for hosting me today, because it feels special, right? When I think of this great grandfather that I've heard about in my life, but never actually touched his legacy. So it's like the product of his loins coming to meet the product of his work. And it's an important day for me personally. And I know a lot of you guys are students, and I just want to tell you I'm the first person in my family to not go to college. And as the president has told you, I've done outstanding in spite of that. But one thing I did want to say, and one thing today just made me think about, for all the things that I've done, I'm most renowned for what I didn't do. I've made decisions in my career that a lot of people have called insane. 2004, had a $50 million deal on the table, and in a crisis of conscience, flipped the table over and walked away. Went to South Africa. Everyone said I was running away from the money. That is not true. In fact, I still want that money. The idea that I wanted to just share with you guys is the idea that sometimes you do what you think is best, whether anybody understands it or not. I heard a story about my father where someone told me he used to do statistics for a company in D.C. The company he did statistics for started doing business with the South African government, so he quit his job. It's caused a lot of problems between him and his wife. It's hard for a man when he can't provide for his family the way he wants to, and he suffered through it. And a generation later, when I had my crisis of conscience, I was able to go to a free South Africa and get away from the heat. This idea that what you do in your lifetime informs the generations that comes after you is something I keep thinking about, something that is so much bigger than just ourselves. And today I'm standing in front of you guys, and I know you guys are like, oh, I know you're bored. But I see family of mine in the front row some who I've never met, and I just realize how all of us are connected. That my great-grandfather built something more substantial than buildings. He built a community, and he built, more importantly than a community, he built a way. You know, so I'm very grateful. Very grateful. Hello, police. I just saw him saying, you know what I mean? He's standing over like, so this is what black people talk about. I just want you guys to remember, you know, that right now there's this thing where ethics aren't what they used to be. This idea that people are trying to replace the ideas of good and bad with better or worse. And that is incorrect. You gotta keep your ethics intact because good and bad is a compass that helps you find the way. And a person that only does what's better or worse is the easiest type of person to control. They are a mouse in a maze that just finds the cheese. But the one who knows about good and bad will realize that he's in a maze. So, that being said, I just hope that all of you guys transcend whatever you see as your obstacles and that you live outstanding lives and that you stay connected to your communities because you have so much power there, and that you grow your communities and you diversify your communities, and that you don't let anybody tell you you can't or to be afraid. It's okay to be afraid because you can't be brave or courageous without fear. The idea of being courageous is that even though you're scared, you just do the right thing anyway. So in 2004, I walked away from $50 million, and in November, I made a deal for $60 million. So, although I am not the most famous comedian of my time, I would like to know what their great-grandfathers did. I'm very proud today. Thank you very much.